Hail, hail, the CeltsAreHere here, and we're almost done, guys. The international zone, the international dead zone is almost just about behind us, and we are now forward facing. We are looking towards the weekend. It's Celtic versus Dundee. We're live here on a Thursday night. And I've got to say, thanks of all to everyone that's joining us live and loud. Good to see us all here. And thanks to everyone that is joining us live as we kick off tonight. But we do start off on a negative footing. I will be flying solo tonight. There is no McBride Ace with us. He has been jet set and whisked away by Dermot Desmond himself. So if you see McBride in the tabloids in the coming days, he's been ingratiated by the powers that be. Maybe we've got our inside man. Maybe we've got a bit of a mole now at Celtic Park. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'll be flying solo tonight. We should have McBride back from hanging out with Dermot Desmond next week, and maybe we'll have a wee bit of banter and a wee bit of chat around all of that, which is good to see. But yeah, it's been a big week. We've had a few videos out on the channel, and I normally try and put a lot more out when we're during the international break, because I always enjoy these periods as being good points of the year where we can just talk about some topics, or we can just look back at like the last little chunk of games and talk about some things that have came out. But we managed to kind of get all the main things I wanted to talk about into like 2 videos or so, which came out this week. So if you missed them, be sure to catch them up, because very well received so far. We're looking at 2 signings to fix Celtic, and we're looking at the next 7 games, and that's where we start off tonight, is the kickoff of this chapter. Angelina, thank you very much. Angelina, thanks very much. Mr. Squeak, Boyson, lots of you heroes and legends are in the live chat, so good to see you all here live and loud. And yeah, Dens Park away to Dundee is always one of these games where I think certainly over the last, like, let's say 5 to 10 years, you don't really fear it that much. But the Dundee, Dundee's a very good football city. I think we can give them that. And the crowds that they do bring, the venue, they normally have like managers up there as well that are, I don't want to say quite up and coming, but normally like the good managers in Scottish football find themselves in amongst the Dundee clubs. So it's never really a game that you're maybe looking at like sometimes we have in the past with like Aberdeen's and Hibs and stuff like that, where like, oh, if we're not careful, we could get sucker punched. But it's more one of those venues or one of those cities where we take on either team, where if you don't turn up, you could get your pants pulled down. It's one of those ones. And we got mugged off at Dundee last year. You might remember the whole Austin Trusty, kind of stuff that went around that. And I think coming into this game for us, we've also got former Celtic player Stephen Presley there as manager at the moment. And, like for all of his, dourness and his kind of somewhat self-deprecating deflection that he's quite happy to engage in the media or whatever, make no mistake about it, they'll be coming into this game with a plan of attack, trying to stop us and trying to mug us off again. McLaughlin Pete, yeah, I did. If you check out Twitter at Craig Celt, the CeltsAreHere head honcho, he was quite quick to put some cold water on that. I don't think these links and rumours have any merit to them. Bobby Clark was a player we were very closely linked to in the summer, and it didn't materialise, ended up at Derby. I actually know someone that works at Derby, I'll just say in the media department, and asked him for how's he been doing? Yeah, it didn't fill me with confidence, to say the least. So we don't even really need a guy like this as well. We can talk about this if he's want as well tonight, guys. I don't mind. But if you refer to or even if I just reference it in context, but the 2 signings to fix Celtic, we did have a midfielder in the mix for that, but nowhere near the profile of what a Bobby Clark is meant to be. And don't get me wrong, like, you never say no to good players and bring them on. That's the kind of situation we want to be in, where we have too many good players. That is when you get to the European scale where we should be, and that's when you really have options, variety, and a 90-minute kind of plan of attack where all the subs actually contribute, can change the game, can level up, can go up a gear, whatever's required. So I don't like turn my nose up at it or anything in that regard, but I do think he's far too similar to too many players we have already. 6 million quid, quite an injury record on him as well. I was quite excited from a fantasy football perspective when Bobby Clark and Stefan Bajcetic, who we were also linked to, they both went to Salzburg. One was on a transfer, Bobby Clark, and Bajcetic was on a loan. And I was quite excited that they could go to Salzburg and just, what Salzburg are like, especially when they get some wonder kids on their hands, they can really be a force domestically. And they've had some good results in Europe over the years. But for neither one of them did it really happen. And Bobby Clark especially has been quite injury prone, and now he's at Derby County. not really swimming. So 6 million quid, the style of player he is, it just doesn't seem to fit, you know. But it's not really stopped us before. We do have 1,000 left wingers again at the club, and yeah, you just never release things out. You never know. So yeah, happy to we maybe sketch that over the preview tonight. I'm not too sure, but anyway, this is the team that I've got sitting for us tonight. Now, normally these streams we go for about an hour. There's me and McBride here, so we're kind of both chiming in and discussing things, weighing things up. So I'll need to do that with you guys tonight. The show might run for an hour. If you're watching this after we've been live, you'll see exactly how long it goes on for. But at any point, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do hit the like button, subscribe for more content like this, and get into the live chat or the comment section. And I want score predictions. I want team predictions. And I want man of the match shouts. You know, who do you think is going to write their name over the game? They might not necessarily win the award, but who are we all going to be talking about when the game is done, for better or for worse? So yeah, this is kind of the active squad for the game that I've got laid up. And normally me and McBride will sit and we'll kind of chew the fat on some of the topics of the week before getting into some of the positions and everything. But I say this week it's just been kind of Groundhog Day. It's just all been board and fan stuff. The Bobby Clark thing was somewhat semi-interesting. And then we've got the Rangers circus kind of going on. I don't really, you know, also happy to go two-footed on Rangers when we're covering them, whenever we're about to preview a game or something like that, if we have it as a topic, perhaps. But I don't like to bring it up into non-related, unless you guys are after it, of course. The live chat, call the shots here. Good to see you all. Mark Duffy, Monty, Dan, the Psychedelic Soul. That's a great name. Monty, Strange Love the Doctor, some familiar regular names and faces. Craigie White, Chris Murray. I see all you guys here. Good to see you all. Celtic's lost its Japanese touch. There's maybe a little bit of that going on, and I do think that, yeah, we've missed a little bit of that pep, haven't we? A little bit of that zest that the boys from the Orient had brought to us when they all kind of parachuted into paradise under Ange. They gave us an extra little kind of, because part of the thing, right? And I was listening to maybe Talk Sport, and they were talking about Kevin Muscat to, yeah, it was Talk Sport, and they were talking about Kevin Muscat to Rangers and the kind of parallels with Ange and Celtic. And one of the kind of throwaway phrases that was made in the conversation, it wasn't really a big point. Nobody really challenged it or anything like that. I think it was Simon Jordan. He said, oh, the Celtic team would have been, you know, Ange taking Celtic is way better, way easier than Muscat taking this Rangers team. And that's not a quote, I'm paraphrasing extremely. But he basically made out that Ange had like a cushy squad to inherit, essentially, which, as we all know, that was nowhere near the case at all. So where did that come from? I'm really sorry. Sorry, that started off with something and I've just forgot where I was going to take it. Oh, the Japanese lads, of course. But it did feel like that quite quickly, because when you bring three of those guys in there who mentally, professionally, physically are like elite level, you know, where, you know, they have, I think they've all shown incredible determination, resilience, hunger to learn, and you know, they were all very eager to fulfill potential at Celtic and really write headlines, win medals, score goals, and it really did give us something. With Hatate and Maeda, it's, I don't want to say it's fizzled out, but it was a bit more of like when it was Hatate, Kyogo, and Maeda, and we had Jota. Obviously, Jota's not from there, you know, but it was like a real unit that felt like it came in, and we don't really have that unit anymore. So I agree. Like, if we could wind back the clock and just bring in another couple of Japanese lads that were going to be in the same caliber as the guys we've had in the past, it would be an overnight fix, I would say. But I don't think there's that many players in Japan right now that, like, there's always a good crop. Don't get me wrong. This kind of generation that they've been bubbling and building with, there's lots of good players, but the scouting round there now is not sleeping, and yeah, there's not really that many there right now that we should be going after. Good to see you all. I'm trying to keep up with the chat a little bit, just in case there's anything that's worth referencing in here. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the size of it. So I actually left a lot more defenders on the table for this show tonight because a few different reasons. Carter Vickers has been away with the US men's national team, USMNT, not got off the bench, not kicked the ball. A lot of travel, 7 games in 25 days coming up. So would I rule out, because we've seen Simpson Pussy now play for the B team. We've seen that the Man City contingent from CFG, like 2 guys came into the training ground about a fortnight ago. And from some of the Man City accounts and stuff like that I follow, the word in Manchester is that Man City are saying that Simpson Pussy has been injured in the initial stages of the season, and they are happy to keep him on loan at Celtic for the duration of the season. They will not be recalling him in January, despite his lack of game time to this point. And even if it doesn't change by January, they're going to leave him here for the full season. So, like there was some quiet, I don't want to say murmurs or whatever, but there was definitely some quiet words around where he refused to play for the B team. And now he's done it. Has he maybe did his little initiation ceremony that he needs to do now where he can be called upon? We've had Austin Trusty also back in the squads for the last couple of weeks, I think. And Liam Scales pulled out of international duty, I think, due to a family bereavement. So between Scales maybe being not really of body and mind for this one, perhaps, and Vickers getting the air miles on, I've not even mentioned Dane Murray, who, of course, is very firmly in the squad at this point in time. It's going to be Vickers and Scales, I think, right? But I think there's a noteworthy probability it's Simpson Pussy and Trusty, or it's Scales and Trusty, or it's Vickers and Trusty, or it's, there's something different. I think there's a significant chance that we get a different centre-back pairing. Not that's something I'm calling for in particular, but I just think with Trusty coming back from injury, Simpson Pussy maybe doing the dance, doing the initiation thing, and just everything I've just mentioned with the 2 main centre-backs, it might be right. It's your time to go in now, pal. You've served your penance. You've done your thing, despite us going off on the wrong foot. And then you get Connie. Did any of you guys post on a site called? No, I did not. Not me personally. I can't speak for everyone. He was training. Who was training? Yeah, everyone's been training, haven't they? Or are you talking about Scales? I didn't actually think about Scales when I was checking the training videos. To be honest with you, AJ was in training. AJ's been playing golf, and AJ is in the conversation for the squad 100%. McBride thinks he's going to start. I'm not, or maybe he's changed it actually. This is McBride's predicted team, or not. I'll leave that then out. I don't want to change tabs in case it ruins my little board that I've got here, because it sometimes glitches when you change screens. But Johnson's almost certainly in the squad. I don't think there's really much doubt about that. It's how many minutes does he get? Does he start? McBride, when I spoke to him before, was quite. I don't know if I want to say confident, but he was of the opinion certainly that Johnson starts this and gets to 60 as a precursor to Strumpgratz, and I could very much see that, because Alistair Johnson is a very fit guy, and he has just needed the injury to repair, to heal, and he's been like a coiled spring waiting to go. He is the sort of guy that, do you need him to be match fit, and really bleed him in over weeks and weeks, giving him more minutes, I don't think so. I think AJ is a deep end swimmer. I think AJ is a high caliber athlete and one of the best players in the squad. So I wouldn't rule out him starting. And when McBride said that, I thought, yeah, maybe I'm just being a little bit more pessimistic about it. I personally see Anthony Ralston starting the game with Alistair Johnson coming on to get maybe the last 20 to 30. Again, maybe as a precursor to Strumpgratz. But again, as I think that, if I'm the manager, I want AJ to do 60 against Dundee, and then I want him to do 60 to 70, maybe even 80 against Graz. And I think I start him against Dundee. So I'm actually quite genuinely on the fence with right back. I think the left back, Sorare had a great international window, as we know. He had a wee stint as captain for Uruguay. He flew back in good time and in good order as well. And we know that Tierney was used quite sparingly by Scotland, to say the least. So he's not exactly been loaded up. He's had probably a nice kind of little international break where he's kept ticking over without being, put under a lot of pressure physically in that regard. And I think it would be I think you could easily see Johnson, Tierney start, Ralston, Sorare finish, quite easily. But then if that is the case, I don't see us substituting any centre backs. I don't want him doing an hour against Dundee. Interesting. Let's see what you guys think and feel. McConville. Oh, cool. Jelly and ice cream overdose. Fair enough. Fair enough. Rogers will go Sorare, Tierney, Murray Donovan. Wow. It's a shout. It's a shout, by the way. So, Monty, I'm actually quite torn on that. Number one, I can't bear to see us lose in Europe, especially the Europa League, for a few reasons. Because, like, not doing good in the Europa League is tantamount humiliation, really, for Celtic, and how we talk and how we feel and what we want. And I know that it's not really our control. It's not as if we are getting beat or anything, or, well, you know what I'm saying. It's not like you're personally taking the humiliation or the dairy for it. And I get the focus on the league, just get everything done, but and how far could we go in the Europa League in reality, even if we went or whatever, we get done with the group stages? It's a really weird one. I'm just really taking it in isolation, game by game, to be honest with you. I hate to sound like a football cliche on feet, but the Hitman, I love that, by the way. So I don't really know. I think Sturm Graz, we have to beat them. They beat Rangers. We have to beat them. And when you look at the groups and stuff like that, we have to do as well as possible. There's just no getting away from it. The players individually will be wanting to do it shop window angle and personal success, and same for the manager. And I think, like, you prioritise the Dundee game because we need to get the points on the board domestically, but you have to be considering the Europa League. You have to be, trying to optimise that for the squad, because we have a squad here. And really, like, against Sturm Graz, it will be Scales and Vickers. No two ways about it. Could Scales maybe do with the time off, perhaps? I'm not too sure. Was he who you were mentioning in the chat? That I forgot to check for Scales in any of the training footage. So if any of you guys are here live and loud with us, feel free to mention that. M. Young saying, yeah, Tierney, it could be a great opportunity for him to go at LCB. I could see it, but trust he's back fit and available. He's been back in the squad for a little while after his initial injury. I think he's the easiest one to come in, particularly for Scales, but really for anyone. I think he's next batter up to take a leaf out Huddle Breakdown's book and use an American sports kind of crossover thing there, But yeah, as like Murray, and again, Murray's been very much in the fold here, but I just really wouldn't be surprised if we've seen a very different, because again, Trusty and Simpson Pussy have been training together for 2 weeks. Trusty and Murray played pre-season together, and if Vickers has got the air miles up and Scales has got a family thing to deal with, it really could be anyone. Well, I'll do a wee poll, right? We've got CCV. CCV in. Well, let's just do CCV and Scales. CCV and Scales. Scales +1. CCV +1. Or new to. What do you guys think we're going to get? There's a wee poll there. High scoring game would be nice. Yeah, that's it. By McLaughlin, it's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. Really just push right up. Yeah, I can see it. Oh, and McLaughlin P, actually I kind of skipped over him here, but Sinisalo, I'm pretty sure he played both games for Finland, established Finland number 2 now, not number 1. The number 1 goalkeeper plays for Monaco, formerly of Leverkusen. Lucas Hradecki, he's out injured at the moment, so he's almost certainly going to be number 1 until he retires. But Sinisalo very clearly lined up as next in line. So do we maybe look at that a wee bit? Maybe Schmeichel's got some air miles on the clock. He's been diving about for Denmark for a few days. Do we maybe bring Sinisalo into this one, actually? I don't think so, but great shout from McLaughlin to add it into the chat, because I did say coming into the season, if you're talking to Sinisalo and you're Celtic and you're actually going to try and bring him in to replace Casper next season, what do you want to do with him? You want to play him in all the cup games, and then you probably want to play him home and away against like the bottom 3 teams, bottom 2 teams. Give him that kind of 6 to 2, 4. Yeah, give him yeah, like 4 to 6 league matches, and then cup games will take him over 10 quite comfortably. The bottom 2 teams at the moment are Aberdeen and Dundee. So away to Dundee could be one of those games where, but again, I think just before Strumpf Graz, I don't think he will want to play that game, especially if there is something to do at centre back. I don't think he'll play with the goalkeeper unless he goes Sinisalo, Trusty Murray, because that little trifecta could play together next year, has played in pre-season together. Can I see that team on your map? What team? What map? Oh, maybe over here. Yeah, you maybe can, by the way. Yeah, the screen brightness. No, that's this here, isn't it? Yeah, that's me looking at flash scores. I'll take that away. If it's distracting you, I can bin that. I just got the league table up. That's what it was. Casper still looking like he can carry a pass. You can't pass. Yeah. I've not watched Denmark, so I couldn't tell you. Rumour of Gun in January. So lazy, man. Nah, man. Honestly, I could talk so long on goalkeepers we should buy. Sinisalo, I'm happy with, right? I'll segue for a moment, right? There was 2 shouts I had. I'm going to write one down while I try and really rack my brain over who the other one was again. But I was thinking about this for a video. I'll probably do it. I probably will do it on a video, but at an appropriate time. Someday, I've remembered one of them, but who's the other one? It was 2 goalkeepers. And essentially what I have thought was you just go and sign one of these guys. I'll talk about them once I remember the second one, so I don't want to do it with just one guy. And you just have them straight fight it out for number 1. Sinisalo versus the other guy you sign up, and one of the most sink, one of the most swim. But if the other guy is good caliber and Sinisalo is the prospective Finland number 1, if they sink, you can very easily loan out with options to buy and sell on clauses, and you can moneyball it. Linked with the Man City number 3. Nick Pope and Meslier? Nah. Nick Pope, Nick Pope is the second coming of Fraser Foster. I would take Nick Pope, no problem at all. Meslier, however, I'm not interested in one iota. Oi. What's realistic for us to get in January? Well, I tried to do that on the video earlier this week where I tried to stay in the realm of reality. But yeah, Gun's not Champions League level. Did Celtic try and get the ex-Leeds goalie? Yeah, there's maybe 1 or 2 of them. Leeds went through a few keepers recently. Our CEO's involved in EPL transfers. Yes, I would say so. So generally in the Premier League, you've got the football director, the talent spotter sort of figure. And then if you want to use Chelsea as the example, they will Chelsea is like the CEOs are just doing it all. They're playing, Todd Bowley's playing Football Manager is the meme, so they very much are at the cutting edge of that. If you think about Liverpool, for example, Liverpool is it's all done by committee. So it does all get fed up the food chain in that regard, where it will start with the Moneyball guys, the scouts, the manager. Who do we want? Who do we like? What do we need? And then they'll kick up the food chain, and then FSG or whatever the Liverpool guys are called, they then go and do the business, for sure. And even if you think about Man City, the guys that are in control of all the negotiations are the CEOs, are the head honchos. His name's just fallen out the back of my head. Khaldoon Mubarak, I think his name is. Sorry, it's definitely Khaldoon is like the main guy there, but it's like him and then 2 boys from Barca who are like the sports types guys and the ones that know the agents and all that, but he's like the money man and he's involved in all that stuff. So yeah, it is quite normal, but it's not that they are driving the, like the football department's right on every turn, except for the Todd Bowley situation, because he's just kind of doing it himself. But in all these bigger clubs, what the football department wants means the most, so that's why clubs spend this crazy money, because even though the finance guys in the club are trying to hammer deals down and get them done as cheaply as possible, there's no second option. There's no, we're going to get another guy. This is the guy we need. And if there's the guy you need, you get him. Let me catch up with the chat a wee bit, sorry. Yeah, but like, see, for like the big money, like it's just been like French wonder kids. They've just been, there's not the people managing the squad and doing the talent IDing aren't saying, oh, we need 5 more centre backs. They just buy 5 centre backs and go deal with it. Because they know their assets and they know that they're French youth internationals and all the rest of it. Goal scorer in the January window, I would really need to think about that. An easy answer, I would go to MLS because I think there's some really good quality in MLS right now that you could get at Celtic's price point that would be very, very effective. Alonso Martinez at New York City was going to be the Dahlberg replacement for Anderlecht after we were, when we were about to sign Dahlberg. But NYC, because it was so last minute and he's like their best player, they asked for too much. I'm going to guess they asked for somewhere in the region of 12 million euros, which would be a huge amount of money to pay an MLS team. Even if it was to be in the off season, something like 7 or 8 million euros, I would buy the guy in a heartbeat. Imagine Kyogo could really finish like a finisher. And I know that might be sacrilege for some of you to hear, right? Kyogo scored goals. He was a great scorer of goals. He wasn't like he missed so many chances, man. He missed so many chances. It's probably the best way of summing it up. So that's one that I know would work and is probably available, but he's like 27. So I'm kind of losing a wee bit of the chat. Sorry, I don't know what KC and NY is. KC, NY. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so yeah, it's very normal for the CEO and all that to be involved in it, but they are not the ones making the decisions in the sense of like, oh no, well, we're not spending, more than £3 million on a player. It might be, well, we only need 2 players and they're both going to cost 7 million. The football department is the one that drives it forward rather than the business. Dahlberg was 28. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I actually kind of forgot that. Edward, or Eddie. Ed, good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Kansas City and New York. Yeah, but what was that in relation to? Sorry. Yeah, Pope would sell a lot of shirts, wouldn't he? I would take Pope. I would take Pope as Champions League level. I would take Nick Pope. No problem. I almost said Eddie Pope there for the Americans in the room. Yeah, Kansas kind of suck right now, but Jovic, the guy that's up front for them, again, he wants a lot of wages, but I would take him in a minute. Yeah, kind of McLaughlin. I'm with you there. Like, he's a great player and stuff like that, but honestly, the amount of chances he would miss or he wouldn't pass to people and he would take stupid shots. Yeah, Alonso Martinez is 27. Anderlecht were just going to straight sell us Dahlberg and buy him if you just want some like neutral, I don't know, evidence to support the suitability of him at this level, for example. So yeah, I would just go and get Alonso Martinez. Like he presses like Kyogo. Like he's a monster in that sense, a real finisher, real hungry, and a guy that would only get better playing for us. We're not going to make money on him, or maybe he could, but unlikely. And that's probably what would put Celtic off. We've got on a bit of a tangent, so sorry to everyone. We've got a poll running. What do you think the centre back pairing will be? Because it's one that I'm a wee bit stuck on. 59% of you are going with the tried and the tested, the kind of base camp obvious, which I don't mind going for in the sense of Scales and Vickers, because I do think this will be just get the job done from Rodgers. We are behind the 8 ball right now. And yeah, you guys, we're all quite torn on right back, I think, still. I think you want Ralston to start a game like this. Johnson to start a game like this and build into the game, because coming off the bench into a game is a bit different than, I don't know. I think maybe even just play the first half, So I think he'll go. And this defense, guys, I'll just tell you now, isn't. Oh crap! 2 seconds. Let me just move some dots about. Yeah, I did. There we go. Fixed it. Or do I want to do this? Oh, there we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? Now, you guys that have been on the channel for a while will remember that when Barry Ferguson was the manager of Rangers, on this channel, we called the Rangers manager Neil McCann. We didn't actually acknowledge Barry Ferguson as the manager. And how funny is it that if they do the Muscat thing, they're going to bring back Neil McCann as the interim and not Barry Ferguson or any of the other motley crew. I just, when I seen that, it did put a big smile on my face. I thought, I fucking knew it. I knew it. Because Neil McCann, let's say what you want about him. The guy can talk football. The guy's a good analyst. Like, I've seen him on the TV enough times to know, like, that guy could organize a team, could, go through problems and solutions. Like, this is what screwed us at the weekend. Let's make sure it doesn't happen again. And that formation that they played against Jose Mourinho's team, they came out in left field with that. There is no chance that Barry Ferguson concocted that at all whatsoever. Used the same formation against us. Said at the time, you can go and get the receipts. The streams are out there. Fully Neil McCann, and it was kind of tongue in cheek when I was doing it, but obviously I do believe it. Yeah, that's fair. Like, the movement he made did create stuff, but he wasn't that finisher, that. And again, like, I don't want to give him too, like, the movement does create chances for other people, but like, Kyogo should have scored 100 goals blind for us, injuries and all. He should have scored more. I'll just never forget that about him. I love the guy. I think he did great. Gave us some great memories. Scored some worldies. Genuine bona fide Hun scalper, no doubt about it. Welcome him back to paradise every day of the week. But he made some really selfish decisions on the pitch so often in tight games when we were 0-0, 1 goal down. Never mind just missing sitters and stuff, but like shooting when he should square it for a tap in. And I can't get away from it. I can't let that kind of thing lie. Fulkrug, yeah, I would take Fulkrug. I don't think that's going to happen. AJ with Donovan as backup. I could see it, but again, I think where Rodgers is at, Ralston's just came through a bit of international kind of stuff. I think you could bring Ralston off the bench here just to squeeze the game. Cutrone, who's Cutrone about again? Fulkrug. Is that the situation there? Cutrone's actually been somewhat, or is it Cutrone? I think it might be. Yeah, he's been somewhat marginalised at Como because I've got so many forwards, like actual number 10s, number 9s. Well, he was in our price range, but we would have sold him for a bucket ton more, like, because again, he was like 26 in Japan. AJ is back. Yeah, Mr. Freeland, you said that again. So yeah, I think the defence is nailed on. I think we know it's going to be McGregor in the engine room. He's not played internationals. It's kind of his bag now. And I mentioned this on the 2 transfers to fix Celtic in the January window. Feel free to check that out if you've not seen it already. But I do think Bernardo's days are numbered. Like, I think the minutes we've seen him get recently just really remind me of Lager BLK playing against Feyenoord and even the Rocky randomly getting minutes and stuff. I do think Bernardo's days are numbered. I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm not really too bothered either way, really. But that's the sense, that's the feeling I get. Now, Hatate is going to be nailed in. I don't think there's much discussion around that. Negren has been away doing some internationals. Engels hasn't. McKeown is playing his former team. And we did see against Motherwell that Brendan went for the 3-wee guy midfield of McGregor, Hatate and McKeown. Would it surprise me if that's what he went for again? No. Would it surprise me if he went for any other like third man combination here? Not at all. I think it's really hard to call, and it really depends on where the manager sees the team. Because Engels, I thought, came on and played like a house on fire. And if we'll get to the forward lines in a minute, but imagine Balikwisha starts. I think you want Engels to start left midfield. If you start Engels left midfield, that means Hatate is not starting because he won't play Hatate on this side of the pitch. Would he play Hatate over here with Balikwisha? He could. Something tells me he won't. So it could be Engels Negren. And I do feel that is a bit of an A and a B. It's a bit of a phrase we've been using on the channel for a few weeks now. Midfield situation where it is like an A and a B. It just depends. It's not a first and a second string. It's just a different type, So are we going to expect a lot of the territory, a lot of the ground? Yes. Obviously possession goes without saying. So if we've got a lot of the ground, do we need players that can cover a lot of ground all the way through the game? Or do we need players that can attack, that can cover that ground in the attacking sense? Dundee's a bit of a smaller pitch than Parkhead as well, you know, so do we need Hatate who can really bomb all the way back and recover? I think the midfield is actually really interesting, the way it's developing at the moment. Anders Dreyer has only just got there, and he's became, the first half of the season anyway, he was a bit of a mini Messi to San Diego. Don't see him leaving anytime soon, especially not for cheap. I hope we get Engels and De Green. I thought they finished the game against Motherwell very, very well. Very, very well. I think AJ will be back with a real point to prove as well. McGregor left mid. Love to see it. And if we did play him, and what McLaughlin means is like left of the three here, I think, isn't it? Would he play Engels deeper? Would he play Bernardo deeper? It's hard to imagine. I just really can't see such a change mid-season from Rodgers. I think he's just going to see out this season status quo. Strange Love the Doctor, I'm one step ahead of you. The team is already here for Dundee, but we're not quite there yet. AJ wasn't on tour. Yeah, yeah. International duty, I know. Sorry if I said something that made you think that. Can Balikwisha play in Rio's place? I think he could, by the way. I think he could very effectively. And it's kind of the off-the-ball shape. Like, Negren, Engels, and Balikwisha kind of became like a three midfield here. They complement each other well. They played differently. Like, Balikwisha's not racing down the wing here, and Engels wasn't doing the Hatate penetrate the box from the side of the pitch shift. It was a lot different. Engels was actually a lot wider in some cases, and Balikwisha was dropping into pockets, and the Gren was coming over to kind of do the Rio shift in terms of just overloading and breaking in. Balikwisha's got a lot of versatility. Balikwisha, I did say it in the 7 games are all must-win video. Balikwisha is one of my tips for, by the end of this period, everyone will be like, he's the best player. He's one of our best players, at least, you know. Balikwisha's got very good ratings, and even from a short time at Celtic, winning tackles, winning possession, winning duels, in a defensive sense. He's not really taking anyone on in an attacking sense to get those stats, so they're all definitely in that defensive quarter, which hasn't been much. He's had very limited minutes, but yes, he is. He's very effective defensively. Rodgers' game plan also revolves around McGregor as the metronome. Yeah, that's very true. The controller, as he likes to call it. No, I'm not. No, I am not. What makes you say that? Oh, the Balikwisha thing, maybe. The Balikwisha thing, I think. It's a big couple of games, by the way, and he's a good player, man. Don't sleep on him. So yeah, that's what I'm quite torn. I think Hatate is going to. I think, contrary to the A and the B thing I've just said, if he does play that defense, I think the midfield he goes with is what he wants to play against Strumt Graz, which is probably Hatate and Negren. I just don't see Hatate having not travelled internationally. Rodgers just will not start him in this situation for me. And again, Negren has been our most effective attacking midfield player this season. So I just don't think there's any chance you don't start him. Didn't really play for Sweden. He might come off the bench once at a push. But yeah, it's not really that taxed. Air miles again, we've spoke about that. For what it's worth. Okay, now, before we can talk about the right wing, I think we need to talk about the left wing, okay? Yang is not going to start this game. Could he feature? I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm not going to hold my breath, okay? I personally think Balikwisha starts this game for the simple fact he's not had international duty. The strides he's made in his short time here, and the last press conference I was at with Brendan, I asked him specifically about Balikwisha, like he was one of the big signings, and what's going to be the secret to getting more out of him? And his response was time, just time. Period. Right. I'm going to try and find it on screen. Shouldn't be too hard. I've just don't really put Instagram on the desktop that often. But Balikwisha has made some posts on Instagram and a few other places, basically saying like time and stuff like that as well. I'm not too sure if I can find them. Oh yeah, there we go. There it is. Boom. That was after his assist. It's just a matter of time. So I thought that was lovely that he's aware of the manager's comments. The manager believes in him. That might have even been an echo of a private conversation those two had had when Brendan had said, like, yeah, time is all he needs. He's taken that confidence and, you know, he got his assist. It was a lovely ball. But, and again, like, how old am I again? I'm 37, right? I'm a kid of the 90s. This picture, this profile picture means something to me, right? If you know what this profile picture is from Michelle Allen's Balikwisha, let it be known in the live chat, in the comment section. And if you know what this profile picture means, wait until this guy gets out, by the way. He is raring to go. And from where I'm sitting, he is raring to go. And I think he's going to be great for us. I'm buzzing for it. So I think Balikwisha is going to start on the left. That then opens up a bit of a conversation for the right wing. We all expect Iheanacho to play. And again, if you've been keeping on top of the Celtic YouTube, you know, they've been trying to do some more videos and stuff like that. Iheanacho and Balikwisha are besties. You know, they're definitely pals already. You know it, Chrissy. You know it. Some of you guys know the chat. Some of you guys know the inside joke Balikwisha's given us here. But yeah, so I think Iheanacho's nailed on. Do we get Kenny from the bench, by the way? It's just another thing I want to keep in the zeitgeist a little bit because he is in the Europa League squad. He's the only kind of backup striker that's there, although we know the value of Dyson. But I think Balikwisha, because against Dundee, we'll talk about them and look at them in a second. We're going to have all the pitch. We're going to have them camped in their box. They're going to try and counter-attack on us. And yeah, Tuneke can break them down, can go on the dribble. But against two men, we've seen that he's not as effective as he is against like the Partick Thistle left back or whatever it was, you know, right back. And, you know, maybe it's time to give Balikwisha a chance in the team. Tuneki's also had the air miles. He's also went and played right wing, which a lot of you guys are talking about for the Tunisian team. I think for 45 minutes or so is what it's been reported at. So it maybe opens up an option for Tuneki to maybe play on the right. Now, Dyson went away with Japan and didn't kick a ball, by the way. International friendlies don't really mean too much, but that team is so stacked with attacking talent. So the right mid situation, I think we'd probably go with Forrest and Tuneki finishing the game, but Balikwisha and Dyson starting it. Because I think if you've got Dyson tucking in as a second striker situation, which, you know, we do want him coming down the right and slamming balls in. If he's got AJ and Negren in support, this right side could be really effective in terms of playmaking, chance creation, box entries, all that kind of thing. But really, we want Dyson hugging Iheanacho, and we want more of the ball coming down the left-hand side. We want Negren crossing that middle line to join overloads on this side of the pitch here. We know where Itate normally ends up as well. And I think we're going to focus more down the left. It's just our general game model. And you want Dyson nipping in here. And I just, yeah, maybe it is Tuneke that starts for Balikwisha, but I think, yeah, it's really a coin toss, really, between the two of them. So previously at Antwerp, I was going to say Anderlecht there because we were talking about them before. They played more of like a midfield three, and Balikwisha would be like, yeah, like in this sort of position. And then they'd have like a front two. Or it would be five at the back kind of thing. Or they would mix. I've not actually looked at Antwerp for a little while, but if it wasn't shaped out like this, it would be maybe like oh yeah, I would need to look at it. I don't want to misquote myself for Antwerp's tactics or anything. But yeah, generally it was like a midfield three. Like the Negren role, essentially. He was doing what Negren does for us, for Antwerp, for a long time. Could have CCV on the Yeah, I've heard some of that chat as well, and like, it is what it is, you know. Inamura, like, you know, I heard some of this chat going around. Inamura, Shin Yamada are nowhere near the Japan team. Nowhere near it. So it'll only become a problem from like the perception. The Tomoki, I think the Tomoki Iwata thing is really the genesis of this more than anything, because Hayato Inamura was on no one's radar 4 months ago, even in Japan. And Shin Yamada was not on a high. He was not on the crest of a wave. He had a good year last year and was kind of struggling and fading this year before we signed him. And Like as long as we make them good players, as long as they start playing for us at some point and they fulfill their potential, that will change. That will change. Will it be hard to sign people in the interim? Maybe, but I think it's more of it's really an Iwata thing, because when you have the Yamada and Inamura stuff after Iwata, it looks like a pattern, of incompetence and negligence. Really, yeah. 4-3-1-2. Yeah, for Antwerp that will be. So yeah, I get it. But again, I've seen Eo Tanaka, the best Japan player. He got Young Player of the Year 2 years in a row. If you look at who wins Young Player of the Year in Japan, normally every Young Player of the Year transfers to Europe straight away. Eo Tanaka won it 2 years, maybe even 3 years in a row. And then he went to the second Bundesliga in Germany. No big team would take him, and then that team wouldn't even play him for ages. Sorry for hitting the mic. He's actually now in the Premier League with Leeds. He's had a great career. I love watching him. Eo Tanaka, he'd have been a bloody great Celtic player, I'll tell you that for nothing. But also another young goalkeeper they've had, Kositani, went to the second tier of Belgian football and couldn't get a game. He's now back in Japan. These things happen. Japanese players, there's a big culture shift, and I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, of course but see if Shin Yamada starts playing and scoring, it'll be quickly forgotten. Inamura, I think we can see he's got a place in the squad, but again, I don't think Inamura not playing or not being looked after, like he was just at Albrecht Nagata, who are about to get relegated, I think. So, like, do me a favor, Yeah, exactly. That the Iwata one is the real one, because Iwata was Japanese Player of the Year when we signed him. Yang might have been Young Player of the Year in K League. Defensive midfielders. Yeah. Well, I've not done like full on transfer content since the summer, but I did tons of it in the summer. There's lots of guys there, and we did a transfer video earlier this week where I actually went through midfielders specifically, and I kind of gave a few different options of if it was like a cheap Celtic signing where we don't need to send any emails for approval, or if we actually spent some proper money. So I did it kind of recently, but I didn't focus on age. I was more focusing on realistically, could Celtic get this person? I don't personally. And again, I mentioned that on the video earlier this week. Like, nobody is going to give us the money that we want for Hatate in January. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to play well enough. Where, and I'm not saying he's going to play bad or anything, but I think he would need to play his. He would need to be the best he's ever been for us between now and January to get someone to come and sign him. I think for proper money and to give him wages and minutes, because he's still trying to desperately get into that Japan team. And if he goes to France or Germany or Belgium or anywhere like that and doesn't excel instantly, it'll all be for nothing. And Hatate did an interview, I think it was this summer, where he was talking about how much he really values winning things in his career. Like when you retire, all you've got to look at is medals kind of vibes. So I don't think he's in a rush to run away from Celtic. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think. I think Rio's happy here. If a good offer comes, I think he'll be off. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he'll blink, but I don't think the sort of offer that anyone would want, including himself, I just don't think they're that likely. Yeah, it's very, very hard because that midfield is very good. And without him playing Champions League football and with him not really ripping it up domestically, Tati, lower Premier League. Yeah, from the bench, maybe. Like, who are you talking about? Lower Premier League, like West Ham? I don't think not West Ham, stylistically, it's not really the fit, is it? I don't think anyone thinks of lower Premier League as like Brighton. Bournemouth are too high now. I don't think you'd get in the Bournemouth team personally. Maybe it would. Wolves, you don't want to go anywhere near. They're just going to get relegated. And their midfield is all big strapping lads as well, big Brazilian lads for the most part. Um, yeah, I think that's just his face. My missus says the same thing to me. Like, honestly, I feel that pain. Um, yeah, I'm not saying he's not of the level, but I don't think he walks into any Premier League team really right now. At his best, Like, who are we talking about? Leeds and Brentford? I just don't see Premier League at all for him really right now. So yeah, this is the team I think we'll go out with. And I kind of foreshadowed a little bit of the subs that I imagine that we're going to have. This is the predicted team that we've got for Dundee. Looks to be a 4-2-3-1 with Hamilton and Robertson in front of the back four, Congreve on the right, Hay on the left, Jan Danda on loan from Hearts in the engine room, and Wesley in attack. And against us, again, I've not watched Dundee I've not watched Dundee at all this season under Presley. So I'm kind of just going off of things I've read and all the rest of it. And just what you know teams do against us, it's going to be very repeatable. It's going to be very predictable. It's going to look like this for huge spells of the game. We know that already. Balikwisha is probably going to be narrow. Tate is kind of free roaming. Can be maybe even as a second forward almost. He does that press support kind of job for us. Negren kind of doing the same. And we have kind of turned it up the press in the last couple of weeks. So I could see that kind of thing. AJ and KT chilling out, giving us width. And then the triangle of death back here, just protecting the fort. It could be a great game for Iheanacho. Real fox in the box type shift where it is going to be getting on scrappy chances and on loose ends. And Iheanacho, like, you could get a wee cheeky hat-trick in a game like this, and it could be like a minging game where there's not really that many gilt-edged chances and we're not really cutting them open at will, but the ball might just fall to him, might come off his left pinky toe, off his shoulder, knees and toes or whatever, you know. And but that's kind of predicated on chance creation. And I think that's part of the reason, again, I think Balikwisha comes into the mold, because Hatate loves breaking into these areas. And if he wants to do that, Balikwisha seems really content to kind of do the same, but he wants to operate in this zone here and kind of peek into blind spots on his own, of his own volition. He doesn't want to be the wide guy where it's like, you have to run there. You have to just go and do that, pal. Feels like he wants to read the game a bit more, and he wants to kind of, you know, lull the opposition into a false sense of, oh, I'm going to go close him down and then open the space up for him, you know, because he does just kind of, I don't want to say he floats around, but he does definitely, you can tell he's playing a little bit gamesmanship with whoever's marking him, trying to just lose them just through appearing uninterested. Hatate is supposed to be his own biggest critic. I can believe it. I think he's got really high standards for himself. If you hear him talking in any, he does lots of little blogs in the summer and interviews. If you go and check them up, like I don't think he's an egomaniac, a prima donna. I don't think I think he's got high aspirations, and he's not under any illusion of the level required to achieve them. So I think this could be a good one for Hatate if he's got some, because again, Hatate needs someone that can play him in. Like, Hatate has been carrying so much of the water for us in that kind of chance creation final third moment. And if Balikwisha can take a little bit of that off him, we could get a little bit more out of Hatate in these pockets in a game like this. I would say quite feasibly, quite comfortably. I mean, you've got like Negren and Dyson. Like, if Iheanacho is bombing towards near posts, you know Negren loves to hang out around that penalty spot mark. Dyson for back post. The left-hand side has got a lot of good options in it. And even over the last game or two, McGregor has been great at getting into these zones. I could see us really working for us. I could see this type of team really panning out with the likes of, you think about Iheanacho, Negren and Dyson, you know, and again, they're not after clear-cut, gilt-edged chances. They're all tap-in merchants. They're all trying to get on striker finishes, just, you know, put the ball in the back of the net stuff. Maybe once or twice Negren's really tried to put some venom into it, and he maybe should have placed it a bit more or whatever. But I think, like, this is, and again, you could take Balikwisha out for Taneke, if that's how you think it's going to go. And Taneke is also really good at dribbling. Ryan Astley, I'm pretty sure that's his name, he's actually been playing really good this year, was really good for them last year. And, you know, if it's 1v1, I think Taneke could be very effective against a right back like him, who's normally a back three centre back kind of player. So this back four, I think you can imagine it's going to be, you know, it's quite narrow. But if he can get one-on-one, he doesn't have like two players to face up and go against Taneke. He could just be creating chances, crosses all day, back post, edge of the box, near post, you name it. And if we want to have him dancing out here a little bit more, then I can certainly see it. But again, if Tierney is going to play, I think again it does just lend itself into Balikwisha, because Tierney 2, 3, maybe 4 times in the match, you're going to see him Tierney it up. He's going to get into this zone here, and he's going to be delivering high quality crosses. And where's the rest of the team going to be? I think it's all about the left for us, which will take a bit of pressure off of Alistair Johnson and his return. He can kind of ease his way back into the game, maybe just kind of operate as third centre back who has a little bit of a leash. And if he really is like on the ball and it is happening for him, he can really go all the way up the pitch. I could see this happening. And then again, what we're chatting about before, you're then doing your 5 subs. So we're looking at Sorare. Let me put these over here so you can see them. We're looking at Sorare. One of you said Donovan. So let's imagine it's Donovan, Sorare. I think it'll be Ralston. But let's just live a wee bit of optimism here. Engels, Taneke, that's 4 guaranteed. They're all going to play if they don't start. And then you're probably looking at Forrester, McKibben to be the last pieces of the puzzle here. There's Trusty in the mix, not from the bench, I don't think. Especially now that Sorare's here, we don't need to do that whole weird left back thing that we did with Scales early season. And yeah, I think that's really effective. Change the fullbacks up. You're probably going to change the midfield up. And then with Taneke coming on, probably for Iheanacho, you then play Dyson through the middle. Tierney it up. That's it. That's it. Yeah. And even in the second half of the game when Sorare comes on for Tierney, or if Sorare was to start and Tierney come off the bench, I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think it's going to happen. But Sorare really enjoys getting down the left-hand side here and doing some different bits, which, again, the likes of Hatate and Balikwisha, and like you say there, McGregor, seem to have really thrived on, or could thrive on as well, depending on context for the conversation. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of good routes to go, potentially, with this sort of team, and good options from the bench to mix things up, to keep the tempo high, to rest and recover guys ahead of Strumpf Graz, as well as really refining the team, because we have such a squad where we're not really happy with the business. I think we all know and accept that. If you've not done so already, by the way, please do smash the like button. It does a lot to help the show. But there is talent there. And again, we spoke about it when we signed Iheanacho, but Iheanacho is a player I actively wanted Celtic to sign when he went to Sevilla on a free transfer, but we never put the money up for him. And again, when Leicester get relegated, it was a player that I thought we should be going after. Very much a player I'm happy for us to sign. It was just really the circumstances and the kind of egg on the face nature of it all, which just kind of took a bit of the shine off it. But he's really he's happy to be here and he's kicking ass. And that type of striker, it feels like could just bring Balikwisha, Negren, Dyson, Hatate along with him. Because if we're creating chances, he will put it in the back of the net. So you just noticed the Scaldini? Yeah, we like Sorare a lot. Asrar, I actually did a video on this earlier this week. 2 signings to fix Celtic in the January window. So if you missed that, please check it out. He did, by the way, like I did catch a game or 2 of him in La Liga before he went to Middlesbrough, and he didn't look the part. And the Middlesbrough clips, we all seen them on Twitter. Like, he didn't look the part there either. But so one thing you know about the guy is he's a finisher. And if he can get himself in good shape, I can't say this enough. I love Scott Sinclair as well, but he was nowhere before he came to Celtic. Like, he was in football purgatory, really, on too much money for too long, and nobody would touch him, really. Any team that was going to win stuff anyway. It was all relegated teams and Championship, maybe half wannabes, and he was amazing here. And that's the level you get with some of these top end Prem guys, even if they're not at prime. As long as they are like actually good at foot, like elite executioners of what they do. Sinclair was all about pace, of course, as well as shooting and crossing. And actually, we're getting to know in a lot more detail, but predominantly a finisher. Is that translates to Scotland really well. Like, elite talent and execution works in Scotland if you can just get them fit enough to be on the pitch. Yeah, I can believe. Oh, we've been kind of linked to him on and off for ages. we were probably linked to him when he was at City on loan, because like he was coming through at City and coming off the bench all the time, and they were always signing, like, I think when he was the striker, it was Aguero and Dzeko at the time, and then they would sign Jovetic, and they, what City are like, Negredo, who else? They just kept signing strikers all the way through his time there, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was conversations for us to sign him on loan. Yeah, and he's needing a place to have his career now, isn't he? No problem, mate. Fist bump. Thanks very much, Asrar. And I bump into people all the time that catch the content. Very grateful for everyone that watches the videos. And if you want to say hi, I'm always very grateful to see anyone that's a subscriber or checks the content out. So thanks very much, Asrar, for the shout and the respect, or all of it, mate. So thank you for watching. And if you see me out and about with the mini Quinnies and Mrs. Quinny, then hey, I shudder to think what we were up to. What were we, Brayhead? That was probably just shopping and stuff. Kids can be nightmares at times, I think they'd have been all right for Brayhead. Nigeria, green and white. Yeah, there's a bit of that too, isn't there? And I think, like, sincerely, I kind of said as a flippant comment, Iheanacho could get a hat-trick in this game. I think it's that sort of match where if you have a fox in the box, which is what we've been kind of missing, goals will come in this game. I think they will. McCracken's been actually a good keeper against us over the years. He can pull off some saves, but we still have hammered Dundee enough times over the years, where when McCracken's been in goals, particularly Celtic Park, I don't think he's ever covered himself in real glory, has he? We could get a hatful without being completely cutting edge here. And I think we're going to get a show. I'm very optimistic. A lot of you guys know that. I'm optimistic to a fault, perhaps, where I think if this is a team and we're rejuvenated after the international break and we're ready to go again and we're just focusing on these 7 games, first up, Dundee, get the job done. I can see it's been a lovely little 5-0er. A lovely little, 5-0er. I'm feeling it. Good chat, I think you should get a job in Celtic. Thank you very much. I'm really glad you think so, Asra. I applied for it. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, is I've not checked the views on the video. I wonder if they've actually viewed it. I'm going to go check it now. I think he was. They've, for the last 2 or 3 seasons, they've been rotating between McCracken and Trevor Carson. I don't think Trevor Carson's there anymore. And I think we have hammered McCracken. I don't think he's always had a good time of it at Celtic Park. So when did we do that video? It was a few months ago, wasn't it? So I applied for a job at Celtic and I included still nobody's watched it. I did a application kind of overview video alongside it. It's never been seen. Up the puke, yeah. The semi-pro thing. Have you watched semi-pro yet? Do you know what? Yeah, I know you're bringing that up from last time, Dan, but just catching up on it. Hope he gets to relive that day then. Yeah, same. Yeah, 6-0 would be nice. I'm going to go with 5. I'm sticking with 5. Hope we get the ex-Liverpool player. Name skips me, but remember him being very good. Bobby Clark, we spoke about that at the very beginning of the stream. Craig, if you're on Twitter, at Craig Celt, all one word. He is the head honcho here at CeltsAreHere. He kind of put cold water on that. It's not a fresh actual rumour. I think it's an agent just trying to drum up some interest. Unbelievable. I know. How many have they still not watched it, man? How have they still not watched it? Anyway, we can live and pray and hope. One day they'll interview me for something. I'll probably be cleaning the toilets. Yeah, I agree, Alpha. I agree. He's a finisher. He's a finisher. And there was a wee bit of one of the problems we had at the squad for a while was like we would be falling into the box like mad for 60 minutes, and Kyogo wouldn't get on the end of anything. And then we'd go, right, we'll bring on Giakoumakis now. And then we'd bring on Giakoumakis and we'd start playing balls down the channel for him to run into. And, you could say that with you could say that with a few of the strikers we've had over the last, like, let's say 3 or 4 years, where we just we've had lots of periods where the service has not really matched the striker. Iheanacho is not Kyogo quick, he's not blistering quick, but You can genuinely give him any type of service. Left foot, right foot, channel, into feet, head, and he'll make something of it. He'll do his best, certainly. So I'm with you on that. I think Iheanacho is going to be my shout for like man of the match. I think I'm just going to stick with it because it fell out my mouth. So I'm just going to stick with it. Iheanacho hat-trick, 5-0 to the Hoops. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. If you're going to the game, travel safe. I hope you have a great time, of course, and I look forward to hearing your support in the away end. The away Celtic fans, of course, flying the flag, keeping the reputation going for us all. It's on Nichols' whiteboard to watch. Love that. If you're watching this after we've been live, drop your score predictions, your man of the match shouts into the comment section of the video. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on the predicted team that we've went through today, any changes you would make to it, and how you think the game is going to pan out. This is the comment section to leave your receipts on the internet so that when the game is done and dusted and all is said and done, you can say I called it. You know where to go and get your screenshot, and you know I'll be back in there to pin your comment and get some responses going and all that good stuff. Thanks to everyone that tuned in today. Enjoy the rest of your night, and hail, hail, and Mon the Hoops.